Welcome to Loleventvods. Watch the full game of today's LPL 2025 matchup.
Bye, Skarner.
Yep.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day Flowers
no.
will be here.
I don't think we're going to see Skarner until we get, like, really late in the tournament. The team's just like, all right, let's... Like, we want that ban for the rest of the series, please. Like, we'll just let it go game one and see what happens.
Thought experiment time.
Ooh.
Is this where you miss the game 4, game 5 different bans? Like, game 4 only having 3 bans, game 5 having no bans.
Ooh. Good question. I did like that format a bit. Mazel's referencing NACL, what we had in the league. I thought it was interesting, at least in terms of opening the pool up a little bit. And yeah, LPL went opposite, right? Because game 5, you get even more bans.
All bans. Yeah, you get all your bans. So in game 4 in NACL, you only had the first 3 bans. In game 5, there were no bans, only the fearless bans. But just a thought experiment. It's interesting.
I thought game 4 was really hard in NACL.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That was a really tough game to get through.
I agree. All right, we're through the picks and bans, or at least the bans of the picks and bans. WE ban away the Kalista, the Vi, the Udyr. You get the Zyra, Jace. Skarner ban. Ashe is not the first pick by WE.
Well, you're likely going to force an Orianna here from XQW to break up the combo. So you could go Ashe Ori and feel okay about it, but other things on the board might be able to get Ashe later on in this draft. I'd be surprised if LGD gives away Orianna here with the Nocturne. But looks to be the case at the moment.
Just get Ashe, man.
Just get Ashe, yeah.
Like, this pick is OP, bro. This pick is OP as hell
so
right
far,
now.
the win rate's not been good. I will say at the start of this tournament, I believe coming into the day, Ashe is 2-6, so 25% win rate. LGD, I mean, I expect them to really shift the spectrum on that. I think there is some bias in that. Like, I think why Rumble and Ashe have been low win rates is actually because the blue side teams have been losing, because we've had a lot of 3-0s and everyone's taking blue side, and those are our first picks on blue side. So, you got to get into the stats here in Fearless Draft. It's less of a sample size for all of our champs, given that you can only play them once in a series.
Victor, let's go! They've watched Arcane. How long until those jokes get annoying?
I guess they don't want the Ori combo. They were expecting to play Victor and the Ori maybe with this draft strategy. This is one of Karis' better champions going throughout his career.
Just interesting you wouldn't go with the combination.
Yeah, especially against Ashe. Like, that's a pick that you can really punish. So with Knock Ori. So I am a bit surprised.
Is this just a free-for-all? They're just like, we pick whatever we want.
I mean, Cube on Tank Duty's common, and Victor does pack enough damage to warrant taking a tank in the top side. But
do you still take Ori?
Cube on Tank Duty is what we expect, Mazel. That's a stock standard here in the LPL.
Do we expect the Orianna still to come through? Do you not just are you not just falling into the bait?
So Ori, what I do like about Orianna is that you can really help create zones for Ashe and buy some space for. Also into Victor, you get outranged in this matchup, but with the shockwave and with your ball, you can still zone Victor off and then make plays on him early on. So actually expecting Climber to take a jungler where you can attack. I will say, we are in Fearless. I will say in Fearless, I believe that flex picks are nerfed a bit because you only get to use them once. I just do want to bring up that Jax in the Nocturne, it's not the worst matchup for a Jax jungle. And if you do want to switch up the top lane matchup, might be an option. Again, not what we're expecting to see. We haven't seen Jax jungle in a bit, but just do want to highlight that. And at the moment, it does look like the focus is going towards Climber, taking away some of the junglers that might be available for him.
I like the Jhin ban. I think the Jhin ban's so unlocking to the WE side with the kind of distance and the utility it brings to the table. And then the very obvious Climber targeting from WE in the second phase, trying to take away any big power pick there with the Viego, as well as the Braum towards YCX, saying that's one of the only available options.
Yeah, Braum, extra power for LGD because that Unbreakable can stop the Ornhorn. I will say Alistar does go up in value a lot here for me. I think it's Panth Jungle. We have the Climber Panth Jungle. I was going to say, I think that a lot of the junglers that synergize well with Orianna off the board, stuff like Xin Zhao, Wukong, not available. Pantheon, you got the point and click. You can put the shockwave on top of it. That's good. Now for LGD, they did ban out 2 of the higher ranged AD carries. It's going to end up being the Caitlyn for Taeyun.
Very
so,
interesting.
yeah, a lot of lane power here for WE. And then the Bard. I do like Bard here. I think Bard can actually really abuse Pantheon. And we'll see a lot of potential for that ult for Bard to help set up Victor, set up Ornn going through. The Seraphine being hover being considered.
This would be kind of nasty. I feel like
Seraphine
this would break the comp from WE.
So you can get like popped by Nocturne as it is locked in, but I like Seraphine a lot, especially in games like with a tank top laner with Ornn. If you have an Enchantress, you can somewhat absorb the damage and the CC as the game goes on, and then really turn it later on. That move speed buff as well to help empower the Pantheon and the Jax in the front line could be really big to try and reach the Victor and the Caitlyn, which will be a difficult task for LGD this game.
It will be, but there's a little bit different looks going through here for WE.
Yeah.
Tianjin needs to get some kind of going to him. He needs to get a little gas in the tank. Karis is going to be great on the Victor. Gotta wonder what this 2v2 in the bot lane can off a single round robin group stage. And they need everything they can get to get into here. We are into Xi'an. We are into game 3.
You gotta believe that Team WE backs up against the wall, and their home arena too. Don't want to get blanked there. As you see some nice use of LGD, level 1. That will be spotted by a good scouting ward. Does not escape the grasp of YCX and the Seraphine, but at least WE has an idea of what's going on early. I do think standard lanes would be really nice for LGD. I do favor this Ashe Seraphine, and curious to see them play so aggressively towards this bot side. Maybe a split map scenario to really help the Ashe Seraphine win out with the double ranged.
I mean, I think if you can get any kind of advantage of this, we've seen LGD be able to control those early games and lead that to successes. Climber being a big propositioner of that. And I know a lot of people were very excited to see him get the transition to LPL after that LDL championship run. Bot lane, a little scared to come back to lane. See if they get a little bit of poking done early, but I do want to see what this invade means for the jungle pathing, because both junglers have been very much okay with the kind of same side starts both times.
Just wondering how...
That's the flash already from Taeyun. That's big.
Whoa. Was not expecting that. Interesting. I am wondering how quick we are able to scout the... Okay, we do have Tianjin reading this and going to take the wraps, which is really all you can ask for if you are WE. So this will be a split map scenario, of course. Good word from Karis over the wall to spot Climber on the wraps. So full info being played with. That was one concern I had for WE here. Will not be the case. Do have a Taeyun and Vampire stepping out to try and contest these, but Pantheon takes the Krugs really quickly with that Q. Also like the early smite. Of course, Pantheon in the kit. If you are low health, he will auto crit, 100% guaranteed. So smiting early, strategic as Pantheon. Gonna look to for him to use that to also combo to secure objectives, something that Climber didn't have the most success with against anyone's Legends, but of course has had a lot of success today, as most objectives for him have not been contested.
True. So what does this do for the map state? What does this do for the idea of what Tianjin and what Climber want to do respectively?
Again, I like this setup for LGD just because I feel like they can allow for Xiaoya and YCX to play the double range lane a little bit more aggressively into the Caitlyn. So I think you split map to try and make sure your bot lane can play a little bit further up. Jax can't really be touched by the Ornn Nocturne. I mean, the Counter-Strike is so valuable in that setup there. So really should not be pressured. So I think LGD just did this, again, playing around their lanes well. And if I go back and think of all three maps, all three games for LGD, I really feel like their level 1 setup has been good for the comps they've had. Like, they got the 2v2 they wanted in game 2, even if it didn't go their way. They dodged out on the lane swap that would have been favorable for WE. They have a split map here that plays into their double range bot lane. I think that's very favorable for LGD. So I gotta say, like, this young team, again, I've been impressed by how many textbook things or just stuff that makes sense to me in the game they've been able to do, been able to execute, that has made them look really good today. As now, might get interesting here. Climber, it could have just all led to this.
Traps. The bane of every Panther. He's between the traps. Climber doesn't even get touched. What the hell was that? Oh my god. Climber dissects Taeyun out of the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta imagine that he has the invulnerable from the E, where if you point it in the right direction, you can dodge out of the damage from the traps. Climber, he didn't even need it. He climbed right over the traps that Caitlyn laid, and Taeyun gonna feel bad about that one. the early flash being burned now feels expensive going down in lane to Climber. And Climber should be able to get into his topside jungle, get some respawn camps, and keep up with the Nocturne pretty decently. So, really good start for LGD.
And unfortunately, Cubby just sent a dagger sinking into the hearts of WE fandom. As, God, I feel so bad for Taeyun.
Just beautiful from Climber. Yeah, the Q went wide, didn't matter. And well played by YCX. I did really like the prep of the heal of the double shield before. I think the double W might have been popped a little bit early, but just making sure that his team has all the health early on to play with and calculate that dive with. I actually like the preemptive use of summoners there. I felt like it was really warranted. So again, seeing a lot of good things out of these young LGD players. Of course, hoisting trophies in LDL, but having these good performances in LPL, all you can ask for is they make the shifts to the next level, and it's looked damn good today.
It has indeed. Gonna need to continue looking good as we have Dragon #1 up on the table. First spawn of Grubs up in 30 seconds. Taeyun and Vampire have transitioned towards topside. We should be getting the movement from the rest of the team coming up here.
I do like the shift from WE. Of course, this is before Grubs. They will have a prio towards the top side. This isn't matched by LGD yet. They've only sent the Seraphine up. So Ash will not be able to get involved in this fight, whereas Cube, he might be able to. So I think the shift from WE, again, warranted.
Love to see a little contest ahead of these Grubs spawning. WE just going to start it up. They should be able to just take one and get out if they don't feel super confident about the fight itself. Tianjin maybe going for the magical journey. Not going to do it. Just going to walk his way out. So it will be the 1-4-2 trade. No mark of the feats of strength and go down to either side as they were split. And we should transition to the other side of the map for the Dragon.
Frankly, I'm a little bit surprised that was it. I thought that if Caitlyn stayed, you can poke. The Qs do a lot of damage at this point of the game if you are Taeyun, so might have been able to create, at least get more health bars down or create a decent scenario. Not the case, though. They just decided to go play the waves. Will continue to be this setup. Xiaoyu getting some free time. Experience on Ashe, it kind of is what it is. Of course, does give you a lot of stats, so any sort of experience advantage or stuff you can find in AD is fine, but I think overall the starving out of the Jax, if Xiaosu does end up losing resources, would be more expensive, but at the moment, he's able to pick everything up with the Caitlyn already being behind, so again, good setup for LGD.
So far, so good. We are going to have level 6s available now. Tianjin, Paranoia important. Grand Starfall still pretty far ways away from Climber. I mean, the CS differential is seriously coming back to bite LGD in that case. Tianjin, I mean, this is the time, right? Like, you got to be proactive with that Paranoia while you have that advantage.
Yeah, and I mean, at the moment, he's getting some good counter jungling in. He has stayed really far ahead. That's
there
an
we
ECA
go.
combo,
like, no way he still dies because of it. No way. The spacing arrow from Xiaoyu. Here comes the Paranoia. Tianjin trying to get one kill back. The fear coming through. Karis will actually get the from the dead kill with the arcane. And we'll see now Grand Starfall coming in from Climber from behind.
I actually like this ult from Climber because he's going to help get this wave in, and then he can go secure his topside jungle. So, yeah, Tianjin ended up helping Karis pick up a kill, but this will help Climber defend his topside jungle. And on the respawn, too, if Orianna is able to get mid, potential to look for a quick dragon. Okay, actually not going to be the case. We'll just be the pressure topside continuing. Of course, you do have the 2v1 option at the top line. You can see here in the replay, Tianjin's actually taking the red buff. He's had to pull off this to help with the mid play. So even this 1-for-1 helps delay a little bit of the tempo of the Nocturne. And I like the play from YCX, who is trying to do something proactive to talk about how the Bard could get outside of lane to help. He's kind of just been wasting his time hitting the Jax. Xiaosu has still been able to get pretty much everything on the map. So more of an impact coming out from the Seraphine. Not something that I had on my bingo card early on, but get to see YCX make it happen.
Still wondering how that enchanted crystal arrow didn't hit Karis. It's like literally on top of the model. Doesn't actually end up hitting. Things go a little bit awry. LGD still in a small advantage. Trying to get back onto the map. There's some pings from Climber going down towards that dragon. Would be the first dragon of the game, and it's an infernal dragon.
Climber gonna look to Looks like he's on that one at the moment. Curious enough, though, we have the Seraphine Ass actually shifting their way up towards the top side. We have Grub spawning in a minute, so very confident LGD that they're able to secure this dragon. Rightfully so, not being contested again. Cube not really able to leave his turret at this point of the game as the Ornn. And I think importantly, Jax, I will say, has fallen a little bit behind in terms of resources, so I was a bit surprised that LGD didn't get out of this formation.
Oh, he was on
that
vision.
was spotted. Okay.
He gets the flash out, but Xiaoya being proactive with these ultis.
Yeah. I am a little bit surprised LGD didn't get the Jax out of this formation. I think that Jax in the 1v1, if you get ahead a little bit, I can really push into Ornn and stack up the grass procs, which he's lacking now. So I think that LGD still making decent calls, but at least Jax isn't as far up as he was on Cube. That is a small win that Team WE can take for themselves. Also,
a small win for WE is Tianjin up so far in the jungle. I mean, that's 25 CS in the jungle, and that's no slouch. Hex, or experimental hex plate completed there. So first items becoming a problem.
I gotta say, I really don't love the Hexblade build on Nocturne. The Stride Breaker, the utility it brings, especially going into a few squishies in the backline, I think is really valuable. That said, it does provide slows. I think the hope is that when Karis, levels up enough into this game, he will have the slows with all of his abilities. So hopefully that can make some room for Tianjin. But
do they have the advantage?
I mean, they have no vision right now, so that's not good.
They have the item spikes.
Yeah, we'll see who Tianjin wants to go on, but Cube getting chunked out nicely.
Tempered Fate. They're going to go with the... It's a little bit desynced right now from WE. Big Ornhorn across, but look, the backline. Big access from Sasa. He finds the big counter-strike. Tianjin is just all by himself on the other side of the fight. WE have turned the white flag up and are in full retreat. LGD find 2.
I love the space that Xiaosa was able to take in that fight. Just going in with the counter-strike. Yes, Tianjin was able to take down XQW, but a bit of a shutdown goes over, taking down the Nocturne. Karis fell in the fight as well. And a lot of this was just from the space that the Jax bought. Didn't enable Taeyun to actually get in and do anything proactive in this fight. The back half LGD, they won out on the fight. The Health Bar Wars, they take the triple grubs that will count towards the feats of strength. Yeah, I mean, again, Tianjin, we're so deep, no one can follow. And Xiaosa just a great job here.
Damage.
Yeah, just, gets in here. Honestly, I mean, looking back, it was all YCX that set that up. So it was a beautiful encore from him that enabled Xiaosa to get in and take up that space by that time. So really well played, again, by the support and top laner here for LGD. Did a nice job of separating Team WE in that fight, not enabling anyone to help out Tianjin, and things continue to look grim here for WE.
The Yuntals, first item for Xiaoya, or LGD's side of things. They are also 2 neutral objectives out of 3 for the feats of strength, so they're getting very, very close to that one. Turrets, not as much. Xiaoya, richest player in the game right now, by the way. Most CS by a mile, but as well as 2 kills help him out with that.
Yeah, I do want to say that with some of the changes that were made to Ashe, I believe the build might have changed a bit, or the crit is an option. As I need to do some homework here on the Ashe changes exactly. I wasn't exact. I should be pretty prepped on these, but it's not like we don't we see a lot of Ashe.
We do. Well, honestly, we don't, because it's banned every single game.
Or it's fearless, so you just see it once, right?
Yeah. Get a couple games in, as everybody's going to be completing their first items here. Everybody going to be redeploying out towards the bot side of the map. There's still a while till this next dragon, but again, one more dragon gets LGD, the feats of strength. Is that worth fighting over here, Cubby, for Team WE?
I mean, we haven't talked a ton about scaling this game. I think scaling, the Seraphine pick also really throws that off, because you can absorb so much damage with the build that YCX is going, which I do like a lot. The Redemption. It's going to be damage over time coming out from the Victor and the Caitlyn, so you have time for the Redemption to connect and help out with these fights. I think it's going to be really tough for WE to get through. But for me, it's kind of like play off of Victor scaling, or Victor items. I think you fight off Victor item spikes, and that's how you should play this one out. But at the moment, they're behind, and I don't necessarily think the scaling in the long haul helps them.
Chant the Crystal Arrow. Ooh, barely missing Vampire. Thought maybe they would look for a continued presence on bot side, but now we're getting closer and closer to that dragon spawning. It does also look like Atakan has decided top lane is the place to go this time around. We will have that voracious Atakan spawning in top lane in about 5.5 minutes, but until then we have many objectives on the table.
And dragon being taken. I was doing some Ashe homework, and you do get more benefit from crit.
Bring back crit Ashe, let's go.
Yeah, I mean it's still kind of the same, but before you wouldn't get any benefit with 100% crit chance, as it only applied when they're already slowed. So now you at least apply it right off the bat. So those first autos hit a little bit bigger when you do have that crit chance going, which is the primary change.
Cube doing some work here, Cubby. We said, hey, we'd like to see Cube on tanks. Well, he got first turret.
Defeat his strength. Too bad it didn't count.
Too bad it didn't matter.
Yeah. Cube was set up for success with the swaps, right? Playing into the Ashe, able to get some free time, free farm. So I still think, like, as time goes on, Jax will overtake this matchup. Ornn cannot combat, and if Xiaoxiao wants to be really mean, you build Bork. And that's when you make Ornn really hate his life. I don't think that's not going to be the call. That's the solo queue Jax build, you know.
All right.
Not the pro Jax build. Probably going to see Sterix or Sundered Sky, but yeah,
it'd be so Chad from Sasa.
Sleeve's not going to be a ton.
TP.
We are teasing a ward.
Paranoia,
yeah, here we go.
TP,
okay.
everything. We're throwing the kitchen sink, and it's all at XQW. Enchanted Crystal are going completely wide. Encore a little bit late there. Tempered Fate dodged out of. And we'll get the flash out. Chaos Storm is there. Tianzhen just going way deep, trying to get the kills. And they do find the bot laner in YCX. So a couple pickups from WE.
Yeah, Cube going to TP out to respond to the Jax push, but this should lead to a turret for Team WE. A lot burned, but it leads to some success as they're able to get a couple kills, get a turret for themselves, and honestly, one of the better plays we've seen from WE today.
Our WE upsetting the trend. Our feats of strength of bait. Find out this and more on LPL in 10 minutes.
It is kind of nice for Tianzhen that he can just kind of slam his face on the keyboard and keep going forward. I will credit him. His 2 spell shields, they've gotten through Shockwave. So he's neutralized them. So that has been good Nocturne mechanics from Tianzhen. Is being started by LGD. Going to take a second look again. A lot of buttons burned between the Paranoia. This flash, Tianzhen was able to follow. So the flash was a wee bit early. And then, of course, that spell shield, it did neutralize the Shockwave. So it helps make sure that he stays on top of Orianna. Flash forward to get on top of the Seraphine. Fear still connects, despite Climber trying to buy some space with the stun. Tianzhen makes a nice play for his team.
Borrowing a saying from my good friend Rafa, I'm pretty sure that Enchanted Crystal Arrow hit my fridge. As not being able to find that angle.
Trying the fridge into a freezer.
Yeah, feels a little bit bad, as that actually makes a massive difference if that Enchanted Crystal Arrow hits. And that'll be something to keep an eye on for Xiaoya. It's not necessarily going to be the nitty-gritty fights, the things that he's been really succeeding at. It's going to be about how he can set up the team with this Enchanted Crystal Arrow and the hawk shot vision he's going to be able to provide.
At the moment, LGD really trying to focus on mid where Xiaoya's at. Try and burn through this turret if they can at least get some pressure. Of course, Taeyun with those traps. A few more points in those. Able to get 4 out. See how close he is to 5. Not sure if he put all 5 points in Q. Sometimes we see Caitlyn put early points in trap when you get out of laning phase. Something that I actually like a lot on this champion. I think it should be a 3 points in Q angle.
Oh, cheeky.
Yeah, well played by Vampire. Going to neutralize that rift. Still with the 5 grubs and all the members here. LGD going to get through it regardless.
They will indeed. Maybe looking at another. Tianzhen caught. He is so caught. He is so going to die. Spell shielding the Encore. The flash going through. Xiaoya. He couldn't get him. Chaos Storm going to be used. I cannot believe Xiaoya just did not kill Tianzhen right there. But that'll be a lot used to try to get him.
The heal and I think a nice hot chocolate from Vampire enough to make sure that his jungler stays alive there. Mikhail's also used, but still, like, they didn't really get anything off that push, Team WE. It was LGD using their grub advantage to bully. We didn't see, in Game 1, that was the one game where WE had grub advantage. We didn't really see them push the map, use that at all. Was good to see LGD being up 5-1 again. You can overload whatever lane you want. And the other team, if they contest, then, well, you're still getting your turret melted. As we see the 5 grubs ripping through this one. And all it took from Tianzhen was just getting caught by a volley, an ECA, and Yeah, the follow-up's nice. I feel like Xiaoya could have bought a little bit more space while Tianjin was actually CC'd. He was trying to play at max range. I think he could have stepped up a little bit further because Vampire and Taeyun were further back. So Xiaoya, I don't think he played that one exactly perfectly on the Ashe, but still managed to at least pressure Tianjin, who did just wrap up the Stride Breaker second. I know I said I wanted to see. We'll help him stick on the back line, stick to the squishies. But dragging up, Soul Point on the table for LGD because it is Hex Tech Soul.
Lord Dom's second item for Xiaoya. I haven't seen that in a long time. Maybe needed against these tankier frontliners going against him. TP coming in now. Dragon setup would be a Soul Point for LGD. Big decision-making tools there if they get it. It's also a Hex Tech Soul, so that's massive as well. Taeyun needing an angle. WE not as confident to move in here without mid lane push.
And WE doesn't have any help in the bot lane either, where Xiao's is trying to buy some time as we see Taeyun. That ace in the hole from Kate didn't do too much there.
Not
in the
great.
Seraphine shields, yeah.
Sasa is being answered to by Tianjin. Tianjin caught by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. The Tempered Fate had come down as a response. Sasa by himself. WE being picked
Varus?
apart at the seams. Sasa took all of their aggression and turned it right back onto them. Here
Oh
comes
my
the Grand
goodness.
Starfall. Things are falling apart for WE. He's just
Whoa.
going straight over. Oh my
That's good.
God. They actually caught Xiaoya. He was completely by himself. Luckily, XQW gets a bit of revenge for him. But LGD are making tatters of WE right now.
I just don't know what WE's doing in these fights. I'm going to be honest. Like, Xiaosi, I mean, he bought so much time, so much space again, but like Team WE is not respecting that. They have to play back to the Jacks. They actually have to play for flanks, play for angles. Like every fight, it just feels like they're walking into a choke on Vision as 5 because they aren't playing through their sides at all. And this time around, like, Cube being here, Cube can't afford to be here, but why go in from here? If Cube pulls back, they can actually, space the Ori, space the Ashe, and try and get away from this. Instead, Karis and Cube get stuck here. Karis has the flash of the Sentry or something as he tries to get nothing done against Pantheon. And look at this. While that was going on, those two members are distracted. What was it for? Just get half health off Jax. He's still going to force sums out. Tenjin has a nice save here onto Ashe in the back half, but just not the fights that WE's looking for. Like, the direction of this team, it just feels really non-existent, and they're not respecting a lot of fundamentals of the league that we're just seeing LGD get right, like playing with Vision, playing with Wiz, playing through a choke. How do you want to play your team fights? We've seen LGD get these things right today against WE, where they've just gotten these things straight up wrong. That's why the series just has not looked close at all.
I am at a loss for words. It's a bit unfortunate. It is still a dead even game right now. So even if you're looking at things, it's just been, gut punch after gut punch. Now Tianjin going in for a gut punch himself. Big shockwave combo there onto him, and he just dies outright. Temper Fate. Oh, no. At least Karis will get one. Got the Enchanted Crystal Arrow on Taeyun, and he gets cleansed immediately. Climber getting hit by the Chaos Storm is actually doing some work. Chaos Storm! Oh, he almost dies. Vampire has been found and a stake driven straight through his heart. I don't know if you've seen Nosferatu, but it doesn't end too well for him. As now Cube, Karis, and Taeyun trying to make their way out of this one. And I don't know how much they're going to be able to do.
Trap.
YCX looking for an angle there. Sasa trying to get a counter-strike, doesn't do it. A little bit dicey here for LGD. They don't know if they want to push forward, but the approach velocity from Xiaoya could really do some work. Taeyun second-guessed himself and dies for it. As the Grand Starfall comes in, it is all she wrote for WE. What was an even game just feels like it was completely turned on its head by LGD.
And Team WE in their home arena, watching pretty much any hopes of making it through this group go out the window with a clean sweep from LGD. Tianjin, maybe we have an Otacon contest?
Sasa, don't die.
No,
you
just
better
Ashe.
not die. Tianjin just dies here, though.
Ashe
Xiaoya runs him down.
Oh,
and that is so unfortunate. As the Otacon goes down, they'll get that GA, and they'll be able to put the pressure right into WE's home base.
How do you think Team WE would do in LDL?
It's a great question.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking after this. I will say, I don't mind the approach here from Tianjin. The only thing I don't like is that he's alone. Like,
Yeah,
Cube,
exactly.
the TPs, it's late. Layering with Vampire, like, Bard is sometimes tricky with that, but not able to get it right. Taeyun can't net over the wall.
Dude, Climber surviving.
Yeah, barely able to live. That E being used very well to make sure he gets out, and that's big because Climber ends up getting involved the back half of the fight. I love how LGD is trying to corral them. Do want to give a couple props to Taeyun. That trap was placed really nicely, kind of using the fog to hide that one, but I'm at a loss for words from what we've seen from WE2.
That was a
goodbye,
magical arrow, not even enchanted, from Xiaoya. In the midst of 5 people, he finds Vampire.
Otacon
and
used.
That was just the Atakanjie.
Yep, that's an easy one. The push continues. We got 5 grubs for LGD. Baron spawn, but they don't even want to risk taking that one. They just want to use the power they have now with the Otacon, the grubs, to push down and make sure that Team WE, their hopes in this group, they're coming to a quick end.
Who needs Elder Dragon in the LPL when you have the revive from Atacon? I mean, it is so inherently perfect for the LPL. And Climber going in on himself. Tianchen gets caught. Tempered Fate going down. Chaos Storm is there. They actually might get a couple here. They do get the resets going through. XQW should be the next one to fall. He's trying to get a little bit damage back, but he gets reset as well. That will still be Climber available with his. And you have Sasu there. He does not have his GA.
Did see some of the nice synergy you get from the Bard Caitlyn with the Tempered Fate prepping those traps. Props to Taeyun, who, with that IE completed, hitting decently hard there for the fight. Still, I'm just kind of whipped cream on crap at this point when it comes to Team WE, because we're trying to praise a couple things when things are going south. I'm not going to talk about Tianjin's flash in the Encore. That's actually a true Encore flash, you know? You flash out, and you still get hit. That's an Encore, baby.
I'm not gonna lie, it's a couple of them now. The Equalizer in the first game. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Just talking about something else. It's fine. Talking about something else.
It's been a rough series for Tianjin.
It's okay.
And he didn't even get to play Rengar.
He didn't even get to play Rengar, man. They didn't even ban it. Like, that's how you know things are going wrong.
Maybe his team banned it from him. Fun fact.
Last year, they banned it from him.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's an internal ban now. Fun fact, when I played jungle in college in Season 5, Rengar was banned from me. I couldn't. I wasn't allowed to play the Rengar remake with like the Q hop, which was.
Oh, TP. Oh my God, Taeyun. Taeyun, you're not gonna have a fun time. Okay, he does get away from that. Tempered Fate onto the dragon. Taeyun is still behind here. There's a perfect flank from Sasa right onto their carry. He goes by himself. Now it's a little bit dicey. Sasa goes for the Counter-Strike play. On 4 across 3. Shockwave! Oh my God! LGD have ended all the hopes of Team WE, and they are smashing this series with a 3-0 in their eyes.
Dragon count for this series, 13 for 13 in LGD. 12 for 13. The Elder was yoinked by Team WE in Game 1. Every other Dragon in all 3 games, a soul has gone over to LGD. Just really speaks to the dominance that we've seen from them. Multiple souls, multiple Barons uncontested being taken by LGD too. Team WE, man, really just didn't feel like their day, their series, may not be their year. Who knows? Maybe it's a team where the new format might benefit them because they need some time after Split 1.
They need some time.
Yeah, nice buffer here from Xiaosi to get back. Got through the trap on the Leap Strike, and that was all they needed as the Shockwave to yoink people into the Encore. Today's story, it just really feels like WE not playing together, not playing to their win cons, lack of direction in their play. LGD, exact opposite. These guys have been grouped up. They knew their game plans. They executed them very well. And Team WE never got into their series. In fact, the one time that they got into the series, the fight was Chrono Break. That's how bad things have been for Team WE today.
That's so crazy, man. That is what is so insane to me. And the fact that all of this is built around a bunch of rookies and Xiaoya. Like, the fact that all of this has been a team effort. There's still a mountain like hell to climb in this Group A, but they got Climber right there with them. And now a hopeless, thankless paranoia from Tianjin while his team is being obliterated behind him. Climber is looking for more. Taeyun's right on top of YCX is there.
Climber.
Melee range of Taeyun, and it doesn't even matter. Climber going on a double. Grand Starfall coming in, and I hear the Kangle, baby. Triple kill for Climber.
Vampire, what was that? Oh, Team WE. We got some work to do. We're going to see one more series out of them, but not going to see them get out of the group as LGD. They find the dominant 3-0 tonight.
They do. They will even their score up to 1-1 and make this group a little spicy.